More electronics, adapters. I showed you guys pictures. There are pictures in your folder, but I think I brought some adapters to show you what they look like. So this is one of those kind of universal all-in-one adapters. You can buy these things sometimes on the internet, all kinds of US, whatever. If you want to buy one of these things, you can. I prefer just going on Amazon and buying the real cheap, the real cheap ones. You can get them for a couple bucks. I get like packs of the Western Europe, not England, the Western Europe pack of adapters, like 12 of them, for like less than $12. I think like $10. And I bring packs of them with me. And why do I do that? Because the students forgot their adapter plugged into the wall.
Hold that up to the camera.
Is that to the camera?
Yeah, just.
Yeah, and you just kind of turn it. So there's the Western Europe adapter, right? And then there's a USB. So I do recommend USB splitters. USB splitters, so like 1, 2, 3, 4. When you got 4 students to a room, if you have an adapter in the wall, adapter, not converter, adapter in the wall, and you have a little USB 1, 2, 3, 4 splitter, and you push that into the adapter, now all these phones, it's 4 students all charging their phones. They can all use it. It's a very strategic way for everyone to get their phones charged without like, are you done yet? Can I use it now? With only one USB port. One USB port is like, get a splitter, they're not that much. Right? Sometimes I'll bring a few of those. And, I'll do like trivia competitions. I'll say, who can tell me this? Something we just saw. If they get it right, boom, you got the splitter. All right, we do that all the time with pastries and candies and stuff. So if you are a student and you think you're not going to pay attention, that's fine. Don't pay attention, but you're not winning the pastry. You're not winning the candies. You're not winning the Starbucks, like a real fancy macchiato. If I ask something like, which architect built St. Paul's Cathedral? And you can't answer Sir Christopher Wren, but this person can, she gets the Starbucks. So just heads up, we love competition friendly. We love tossing out candies and Pringles, and sometimes not like bugs, whatever. That'll be kind of part of the tour. That friendly little, we'll probably have some competition between the 2 teams, Mr. B's team and my team. Again, just for counting, but friendly competitions make the tour just go a little bit better. All right, so other electronics, I can't think of anything right now unless it pops up. So adapters for the wall, splitters work really well. Call your phone company. Cameras, most people use their phone. Some people bring fancy cameras. Some of you guys have fancy ones, and that's fine. Just make sure you know it's fancy and you take care of it. And it becomes something that someone looks for to maybe to take. Well, while I'm on that topic, let's talk about crime. In Europe, crime in Europe is not violent compared to the United States. It's pickpockets and stolen backpacks and that kind of stuff. So what we do is we teach head on a swivel, buddy system, be aware of your surroundings. Pickpockets, the thing that they don't like are aware, people who are aware. If a group of people is aware back and forth and they notice them, they'll move on. Because there's too many people out there, tourists like us, that are unaware, that are easy marks for them. So, but Europe is not a particularly violent place compared to the United States. But pickpockets, it's a bummer. We've had a couple situations on our tours. One of the group leaders, that's my position, from a different group from North Dakota, had a whole backpack taken a few years ago. He was helping load luggage onto the bus back and forth, and his backpack was over here, and he wasn't paying attention, and some guys were running off with it. So that's the kind of thing we want to avoid, and we will, as long as our head's on a swivel, back and forth, awareness of our surroundings. That's really important on how that one works. So when we go on the subways in London and Paris, especially Paris, we'll teach you, we'll go over that. So awareness, head on a swivel, awareness buddy system during free time, and we have some free time. No one goes solo. That's just, we don't do it in the States, right? If we're traveling to Chicago or New York, I'll be up for 3 hours, I'm gonna wander around the streets of New York at age 16, no you're not. Right, so we go buddy system, 2 or more people. You already have my phone number, I have yours. You're aware of the time you're due back. Punctuality, on time is late. Right, learn how to triangulate, means where's the bridge, where's the river, where's the cathedral. Sometimes the sun moves across the sky, shadows look different, buildings look different. This is part of travel. We learn how to find out where we are. We're always punctual. You know, I'm always real proud of my students. My students, compared to other groups, are always the ones on time, usually early. And as far as travelers go, guess who's more punctual, students or adults? Students, yes they are. Students. So sometimes I tell adults, your students will be here on time. I tell the adults with a kind of a smirk, don't be late, don't be late. Your students are going to be here. There's at the Arrow statue right there in Piccadilly Circus well before the time we're supposed to meet. And that's common. We have free time in the afternoon in different cities, and we walk around. That's a good time for shopping. That's a good time for finding Wi-Fi. It's amazing how many students in free time seek out the nearest Starbucks because it's got Wi-Fi. They're called. But a lot of shopping. A lot of just really having fun, going in and finding pastry, finding a fresh crepe on the streets of Paris. That to me is one of the life's little pleasures, getting a crepe made for you on the streets of Paris while looking at something magnificent. Oh, speaking of Paris, Notre Dame. You're all aware of that fire, right? I forgot, as far as I know, I know the bell towers, the classic facade is not damaged. You can see that easily. Will there be some kind of scaffolding around it? Likely. I got to find out what it is. Will we be there? Yeah, you can't miss it. It's the heart of Paris. There's a big giant plaza in front. There's a big Charlemagne statue. That's going to be all available to us. We get a chance to go in it? No, unfortunately not. I mean, obviously I think you saw the news story. It was devastating. I was really disappointed. I was hurt. I mean, to me, I was sick watching it. It's just beautiful, and I've seen it so many times. They've pledged to rebuild. How many years it'll take? I don't know. Are we going to Paris? Yes. We've seen Notre Dame? Yes. You'll still see the beautiful two big giant bell towers, but it's not going to look the same. All the other stuff is there. Right, so the Louvre. We go to the Louvre, the Mona Lisa and all the others, the Venus de Milo, the Winged Victory of Samothrace. We're going to go to the Eiffel Tower. Have a chance to go to the Impressionist Museum in Paris called the d'Orsay. If you guys like your art, the d'Orsay is fantastic. On some free time, I really recommend students make a visit. Oh, speaking of visits, on your website, there are all kinds of what they're called optionals. You've seen quite a few, right? There's Versailles, there's Oxford and Stratford, there's Arles down in southern France where Vincent van Gogh did much of his paintings. There's flamenco dancing in, I think it's Barcelona. On a lot of those right now, we're kind of half full. Some are like only a few. Some are real full. The Paris one is full, awesome. Others are kind of half full. Versailles. If you've never been to Versailles, the gardens, the famous gardens, and of course the palace, the Hall of Mirrors with Louis XIV, if you haven't seen it, it is amazing. It is amazing. I don't tell students there's a right or wrong answer on Versailles, because if you don't go to Versailles, you have more time in Paris, but it is pretty special. If you're thinking about Versailles, you're not sure yet, that has to mean it might already be too late. You can probably still sign up, but it has to be pre-booked. You can't sign up for Versailles on the tour. Say, change my mind, can I go? They'll say no. It's got to be done before we go. So on Versailles, you got to pre-book it. Flamenco, if you haven't seen it, flamenco, it's a very traditional Spanish style of dancing. It's very emotional. A lot of chopping, and beautiful outfits with music and singing in the background. It's Spanish. It's traditional. If you haven't seen flamenco, I recommend it. It's pretty neat. I like it. In Toledo, there's a sword making demonstration. The Spanish swords in the history of going back a few hundred years were the best swords. That they're horsemen, they're swords. One of the reasons why they're so successful in conquering the New World. They show you some sword making demonstrations. So take a look at those optionals. If there's a couple more you want to go to, they are all pretty awesome. The only one I don't really recommend, and some have already signed up, and if you can change your mind, is the Oxford Stratford. And the only one, that's just because it's awesome, but we only have so much time in London. This time we spend in London going to places like Abbey Road. We go to Abbey Road and walk across the street and take 4 people to a picture. Sherlock Holmes, 221B Baker Street. We go to the Camden Town, Camden Market in kind of north central London. It's just phenomenal. Every student loves Camden. You ever heard of it? trust me, you'll love it. You have a chance to go visit so much of London that you're going to miss by going to Oxford Stratford. That's the only one I would say I recommend not doing that one and staying in London. All the others are fine. They're fine. If you want to do it, go ahead and do it. It's up to you, and it's extra. You're paying extra for it, but you pay EF directly. Everybody got that? One last thing I want to get to, speaking of payments, is tips. Right, I've already got tips from a few of you guys. Tips, the tour guides and bus drivers and local guides is a tipped industry. This is not a fee imposed upon you from EF Tours. This is like going out to a restaurant and expected to leave a tip. It's a tipped industry. It's not the restaurant's fee. When they give you a price of a meal, say $25, the $25 is not what you're going to leave. You're going to leave more because that's just the industry. So to try and make it easier for you, I've been doing this a long time. I sent this in the email. The suggested tip is $10 a day. That includes the tour director, the bus driver, and local guides. $10 a day times 17 days is $170. A few parents have already paid me. At some point in time, the next month before we leave on June 10th, I'd like to get that money ahead of time. That way it's on me. I have the responsibility for hanging on to the money. I pay the tour director. I pay the bus driver. Responsibility for the student to hang on to some money and they have a little bit at the end of the tour and then give to me for a tip. That happened the first year. The first year that happened, I didn't know I was supposed to collect tips ahead of time. They told me later, oh, you should have collected ahead of time. Well, I didn't know. And then I had about 4 or 5 students that are out. Well, I thought I spent all my money. It's the last day of tour. I'm done. And I was like, yeah, but we need the tip. And they're like, no, I'm done. So that's kind of embarrassing. It also means some adults got to chip in some money to get the tip to the tour director, which is, these things happen. So tips ahead of time is the best way to do it. It's more convenient. I hope that's not perceived as a hidden fee. It's just a tipped industry. If you go travel on your own and you get a tour guide, we just did that in Ireland a little while ago. We tipped him. He was a wonderful tour guide, and we tipped him the going rate. So just FYI on that. That's $170, right? And we're getting to the point where I've pretty much run through some stuff. Unless anyone has any questions, and you might have all kinds of questions I didn't get to. If anybody has any questions right now that you feel is kind of a group question I missed, I'm more than happy to answer those questions. If you have something more individual, we can do it later on. Oh, speaking of airline seats, we get the seats at the time we check in. This always becomes a big source of concern for the students. I want to sit next to my friend. I get it. All right, so what we tend to do is once we get our seats and everybody's got their, I'm in 34B, where are you? I'm in 31A. All right, where are you? I'm in 45. We get together at the gate. We go through security, right? And we get to the gate and we have about 2 hours, 2.5 hours to go because we get there 3 hours early. That's when we do our wheeling and dealing. Which one you got? What do you got? So we're kind of moving around. It's kind of fun to watch. It's part of travel. It's part of the interactive skills. One of the things, the best things we do on these tours is we improve our interpersonal skills. Improving interpersonal skills, eye contact, smiles, forward lean, a head nod, whatever it is, learning how to listen as opposed to just talk. All these interpersonal skills are greatly enhanced on these trips. Start right there in the gate, trying to find who's got the seat next to you that may want to switch because you want to sit next to your best friend. It's kind of fun to do that, actually. So that's kind of on that one. I want to make sure you get that kind of stuff on the airlines. We already talked about there's plenty of movies on the airlines, and they'll feed you. They'll feed you on the airlines. How good is the meal? I don't know. It's airplane food.
But you don't like it.
if you don't want your airplane meal, Mr. B. Right, Mr. B is there for you. Okay, so anyway, thanks for asking that question. Any other questions right now that I didn't quite get to?
So you're all just going to meet at the gate?
We're going to meet right there, right by the Delta. So Delta's our airlines.
Right.
So Terminal 2, right when you come in from the outside, you'll see you're coming in a little bridge, and there's kind of a little round foyer. And just to the left, here's where you go to TSA. Delta's right there. So we kind of just gather around right there. A bunch of kiosks right here to check in. I like to check in as a group. Though plenty of people get there early and they just go right to the kiosk and check in themselves. You can. I like to walk up there and tell the gate agent we got about 35, mostly high school students, maybe 5 or 6 adults, and they usually come and help us out. But if I have some students, I already checked in. Okay, yeah, that's okay. You're not in trouble. Not in trouble. I just kind of like to do it as a group. And once we're all checked in, I think Marcus is going to be there this time, right? We'll take some pre-pictures, right? How excited are we? Pictures, right? So, and then away we go, and he'll await the finished products from your cell phone videos. And if you have the fancy cameras, then bring him that too. And we're looking forward to the production after we get back from the trip. So right there at Delta, Terminal 2. And again, if you guys have any questions, we have 1 month to go before we leave, and you probably will have some questions. Maybe you forgot to ask them right now. I guess the question I have right now is, did anybody not get any pizza? So we still have pizza left. If you didn't get any pizza, please get some pizza. If you don't eat it, you know what's going to happen, don't you? Yes, Mr. B is going to eat it all. You're right. So please get some pizza. All right. So in the meantime, you got a lot of information in your folder. At some point in time, go through it. I want to thank everyone for showing up.
Here in the box.